Before we start with the video, I want to let you know that if you want, you can leave a message below in the comments with the title of the story you want me to create and I will create it for you. Now let's start with the story. The night sky above Earth was clear and tranquil, as millions of stars twinkled in their cosmic dance. Yet, far beyond those stars, in a distant galaxy, chaos gripped the planet of Velos, a world once known for its grace and harmony. Its towering crystalline cities, once symbols of peace and intellectual achievement, were now draped in the ominous shadow of betrayal. War drums echoed in the minds of Velos' citizens, and the once mighty royal family had been scattered, its members either captured or killed in a ruthless coup. Princess Vala, the last surviving member of the Velos royal bloodline, darted through the dim corridors of the palace, her heart pounding with dread. Her shimmering robes, woven from the silken threads of the Velian nebula, seemed to ripple with energy as she fled. Once a beacon of royal elegance, they were now an unwanted reminder of the life she had to leave behind. Velos had fallen, and the palace that had been her sanctuary had become a tomb of treachery. Her uncle, General Zorak, had orchestrated the coup with ruthless precision. The very halls she now hurried through were occupied by his loyalists, soldiers trained in the arts of warfare and conquest, exactly the vision Zorak had always harbored for Velos. For years, Zorak's ambitions had been known but underestimated. He had quietly resented the peaceful reign of his brother, Vala's father, King Aeon. While Aeon sought wisdom through diplomacy and intellectual growth, Zorak believed the future lay in the strength of Velos' military. The Velos were the most advanced species in their quadrant of the galaxy, boasting both unparalleled technology and genetic brilliance. Zorak believed that such superiority should be used to dominate neighboring systems, to bend the galaxy to their will. Aeon, in his compassion, had refused, preaching a message of unity and peace. That refusal cost him his throne and his life. Vala's escape had been nothing short of a miracle. Loyalists, still dedicated to her father's ideals, risked their lives to help her flee Velos. She had barely made it to the underground launch bay where a single small craft awaited her. It was one of Velos' most advanced stealth shuttles, capable of slipping through planetary defenses undetected. As she boarded, her heart ached with sorrow for those who stayed behind to fight for her. Once the craft silently ascended into Velos' twin-moon sky, Vala gazed back at her home. Its great cities gleamed in the distance, now under the control of Zorak's brutal regime. She knew her uncle would hunt her down, and she had few places left to turn. Zorak had already sent messages to neighboring systems, offering vast rewards for her capture. There was only one place left, an obscure planet called Earth, known for its isolation from intergalactic politics. To most of the galaxy, Earth was a primitive backwater, hardly worth noticing. But Velos knew differently. Earth, although reclusive, possessed secrets of its own. The small craft hummed as its navigation systems locked onto Earth's coordinates. The stars beyond her shimmered, and her thoughts drifted to the stories she had heard in hushed circles about Earth. A planet that, despite its apparent backwardness, had repelled potential invaders on more than one occasion. Earth had been left in peace for centuries, but whispers spoke of a hidden power, technologies that even Velos had failed to fully understand. As Vala's craft entered the Sol system, it triggered a silent ripple in the vast defense grid surrounding Earth. What many outsiders didn't know was that Earth had long since outgrown its appearance as a lesser world. Underneath the surface of its natural beauty, the planet had developed an arsenal that rivaled even the greatest interstellar empires. Advanced particle weapons, defensive shields, and cloaked satellite arrays orbited the planet like sentinels. Earth had quietly built a formidable military force, hidden from the prying eyes of the galaxy. Deep within the Nevada desert, a massive subterranean military base buzzed to life. The base, known only as Fort Aegis, housed Earth's most elite defense forces and scientists. Their task was simple: protect Earth at all costs. Alarms blared as Vala's craft pierced the atmosphere. In the blink of an eye, thousands of eyes turned skyward, scanning for any threat. Unidentified craft entering Sector 8 Delta. Protocol Gamma in effect, a voice crackled over the command center's comms. General Marcus Reed, Earth's most decorated military officer and the face of the Planetary Defense Initiative, strode into the control room. His eyes flickered to the holographic display showing the alien craft's descent. Visual identification? Reed asked, his voice calm but authoritative. Alien, sir. The signature doesn't match anything from known colonies. It's stealthy, advanced, way beyond most of the tech we've encountered before, replied an officer, his hands moving swiftly across a data panel. Mobilize the team and prepare for immediate engagement, Reed ordered, his eyes narrowing. As Vala's shuttle touched down on the base's landing pad, the atmosphere crackled with tension. A contingent of armed soldiers surrounded the craft, their sleek black armor and weapons gleaming under the floodlights. But these weren't ordinary weapons. Earth had long since surpassed ballistic arms. What these soldiers carried were plasma-infused rifles capable of disintegrating matter at the molecular level. Around the landing zone, invisible energy shields hummed faintly, ready to spring to life at a moment's notice. With a soft hiss, the craft's hatch opened. From the smoke and light emerged Princess Vala. Her silver skin glistened in the moonlight, her emerald eyes scanning the surroundings with a mix of awe and fear. Even for a Velian, Earth's militaristic efficiency was impressive. I am Princess Vala of Velos, she announced, her voice calm but tinged with urgency. I seek asylum. General Reed stepped forward, his figure towering above the soldiers. He studied her with sharp, calculating eyes. Her appearance was both regal and otherworldly, but his years of dealing with interstellar politics taught him that beauty often masked danger. Asylum? From whom? He asked, his voice tempered, yet carrying an unmistakable edge of suspicion. Vala's expression hardened, and her voice became grave. From my uncle, General Zorak of Velos. He has taken my throne through treachery and now rules Velos with an iron fist. He will stop at nothing to find me. Earth is in danger if you harbor me, but my people will suffer greatly under his tyranny if you return me. Reed remained silent, though he was now deep in thought. Velos was a known power in the galaxy, but Earth had always been careful to avoid direct contact. They weren't foolish, they knew Velos was formidable. But Earth had spent decades preparing for a situation exactly like this, an intergalactic threat at their doorstep. And though Velos ships were powerful, Earth's secret arsenal, known only to a few high-ranking officials, had been designed to repel even the most advanced alien forces. He gestured for his advisors to step forward, and after a hushed conversation, Reed turned back to Vala. His face was expressionless, but his words carried weight. You'll be taken to the United Nations Council. They'll decide your fate, Reed said, his tone neither promising nor condemning. He knew Earth could not make this decision lightly, but he also knew that Zorak's threat, if it came, would be met with strength. Vala nodded in understanding, though her mind churned with fear. She had fled Velos knowing that her uncle's ambitions were boundless, but she hadn't anticipated Earth's military prowess. If a war was to come, it would not be fought with primitive weapons. Earth, for all its secrets, might just have a chance against Velos. But deep down, she knew Zorak would not wait for negotiations. He would demand Earth to surrender her, and if they refused, the galaxy would burn. Far beyond the atmosphere, hidden in the shadows of Earth's moon, the most advanced weapons ever conceived by humanity stirred to life, their silent sentinels readying for the impending storm. Earth would not be caught off guard. This time, they were prepared. The following day, the United Nations Security Council convened in a chamber hidden deep beneath the Earth's surface, a fortress of reinforced titanium and advanced shielding technology designed to survive any potential alien onslaught. Holographic screens flickered to life, connecting world leaders from every corner of the globe. Earth's finest minds, scientists, military strategists, diplomats, stood alongside these leaders, all of them brought together by one chilling reality, the threat of war with Velos. In the center of the chamber stood Princess Vala, her presence a stark reminder of how quickly the situation had escalated. The glow of the holograms cast an ethereal light on her silver skin, which shimmered faintly as she recounted her tale. She spoke with grace and a heavy heart, sharing the history of Velos, once a beacon of peace and wisdom, now poised to become a force of tyranny under the rule of her uncle, General Zorak. Velos was a world of scholars and artisans, builders of knowledge. We believed in peaceful coexistence with the galaxy. But my uncle. Her voice trembled as she mentioned his name. Zorak's vision is one of conquest. Under his rule, Velos has become a war machine, driven by the belief that our superiority grants us the right to dominate. Velos has the technology, the power, to crush any opposition. And now, he will turn that power against Earth if you do not hand me over. Her words hung in the air like a storm cloud on the verge of breaking. The council members exchanged uneasy glances, their faces lined with the weight of what lay ahead. But despite the fear in the room, there was a sense of unity, a shared resolve. General Marcus Reed, a man known for his steady leadership and unflinching courage in the face of interstellar threats, stepped forward. His broad shoulders and steely gaze commanded attention. He had been preparing Earth's defense forces for years, anticipating a day like this when Earth would face a threat from beyond the stars. Yet even he knew that Velos was not just another alien power. It was a civilization older and more advanced than anything Earth had encountered before. We've been preparing for war from hostile forces for decades, General Reed began, his voice calm but firm. But Velos is not a force to underestimate. If Zorak comes for her, we will have to make a choice, fight or surrender. And we all know what surrender will mean. A murmur rippled through the room. Surrendering Princess Vala would not only doom her to death or worse, but it would set a precedent that Earth could be bullied, that they were weak. Surrendering meant opening the door to future conquests, to becoming a vassal state under Velos' expanding empire. Before the council could continue their debate, an ominous signal interrupted the session. The holographic screens flickered, and suddenly the air seemed to grow colder. A transmission from Velos had come through, its frequency overriding Earth's security channels. All eyes turned toward the central display as the figure of General Zorak materialized, larger than life, his presence as oppressive as it was menacing. Zorak's face was angular and sharp, his eyes dark with unyielding determination. He wore the armor of a warlord, polished metal adorned with the sigils of Velos' greatest victories. His voice, when it spoke, was a low, gravelly growl, as if the weight of an empire rested upon his every word. "People of Earth," Zorak began, his tone laced with contempt. "You are harboring a fugitive, a traitor to the Velos crown. My niece, Princess Vala, is aboard your planet, and I demand her immediate return." The room was so silent that the hum of the equipment felt deafening. The intensity of Zorak's gaze seemed to pierce through the hologram, filling the chamber with a sense of dread. "You fail to comply, and I will rain fire upon your world. The Velos armada will be in your orbit within days. You have until then to make your decision." The leaders of Earth remained motionless, stunned by the audacity of Zorak's threat. The ultimatum was simple: hand over Vala or face annihilation. Yet even as Zorak's image flickered on the screen, there was a silent understanding shared by all in the room: Earth would not be intimidated. Princess Vala, standing just a few paces from the display, took a deep breath and stepped forward, her voice trembling yet strong. "Uncle, please, this is madness. Our people were never meant to conquer. We were meant to lead by example, to foster peace." "Silence, child!" Zorak barked, his eyes narrowing with disdain. "You've betrayed your people by fleeing like a coward. You belong to Velos. Earth cannot protect you, no matter what they think." With that, the transmission cut out, leaving the chamber in stunned silence. For a long moment, no one spoke. The weight of the impending conflict pressed down on everyone in the room. It was General Reed who finally broke the silence, his voice filled with unshakable resolve. "We do not negotiate with tyrants. If Velos thinks they can threaten Earth, they will find out very quickly that we are not so easily intimidated. We've been preparing for a day like this. Earth is not the weak, isolated planet the galaxy thinks it is. Earth had long hidden its true military strength from the galactic stage, keeping its most advanced technologies under wraps." Reed wasn't boasting when he spoke. Earth's military, though secret, was formidable. Decades of covert research had led to the development of weaponry and defense systems that rivaled even the most advanced alien civilizations. Orbiting Earth were hundreds of cloaked satellites equipped with pulse cannons, plasma emitters, and gravitational disruptors, capable of shredding even the most resilient interstellar warships. Deep beneath the oceans, vast naval bases housed submarines equipped with electromagnetic railguns, their range extending beyond planetary orbit. Earth's elite defense forces, known as the Guardian Corps, were trained to handle threats from beyond the stars, their weapons capable of disabling enemy ships in seconds. But Earth's greatest secret lay far beyond its surface. On the far side of the moon, hidden from prying eyes, was the Nexus Array, a defense system so powerful it could generate a planet-wide energy shield, capable of absorbing and deflecting energy blasts on a scale previously thought impossible. "We stand with the princess," Reed declared, his voice carrying the weight of Earth's decision. "Let Zorak come. We'll be ready." In the days that followed, Earth entered a state of unprecedented readiness. The streets of cities remained calm, but behind the scenes, the world's military forces were mobilized on a global scale. In every corner of the planet, preparations were made. Underground bunkers were readied for civilian evacuation. Shield generators were brought online in the capital cities of every major nation. Warships, cloaked and unseen, moved into strategic positions in Earth's orbit, ready to repel the Velos armada. The stars might have shimmered peacefully above, but beneath that serene sky, Earth was preparing for war. Princess Vala watched these developments with a mixture of awe and trepidation. Earth was far more advanced than she had ever imagined, its hidden power rivaled even Velos at its peak. But despite Earth's readiness, she feared what was to come. She knew her uncle's forces well. Zorak would not hesitate to bring the full might of Velos down upon Earth. His armada was vast, with warships that had crushed entire systems in mere hours. Yet she also saw something in the humans she had not expected, a fierce resilience, a determination not to be cowed. In the days leading up to the Velos armada's arrival, Earth's leaders and military worked around the clock. High-ranking officials huddled in secret meetings, planning their strategies. Earth's most brilliant minds, including some of its top scientists, engineers, and hackers, worked tirelessly to ensure that their defensive systems would be flawless. As the Velos fleet drew closer, the tension on Earth became palpable. Civilians were largely unaware of the threat, but within the corridors of power, a quiet intensity built. Everyone knew that the coming days would determine the fate of two worlds, Earth and Velos. Princess Vala, though torn by the fear for her people, found herself standing with humanity, ready to face her uncle's tyranny. And so, as the stars shimmered above, both sides prepared for the battle that would decide the future of not just one planet, but the galaxy itself. Earth's hidden strength was about to be revealed, and Zorak would soon learn that humanity was not to be underestimated. The dark expanse of space surrounding Earth lay still and silent, as if the universe itself held its breath. The calm was deceptive. Everyone on Earth's surface and beyond knew the storm was coming. It had been days since General Zorak's chilling ultimatum, and now the Velos armada had arrived, gliding into Earth's orbit like a plague of locusts. From the ground, the Velos fleet appeared as hundreds of silver and black vessels, their sleek, angular shapes cutting through the void with terrifying precision. These ships were technological marvels, vessels designed for conquest, capable of leveling entire cities in seconds. The lead ship, Zorak's flagship, Vanguard of Velos, was the size of a small moon, bristling with energy cannons and cloaked in impenetrable shields. On the bridge of the Vanguard, General Zorak stood tall, his face a mask of cold anticipation. His black armor glistened under the sterile lights, and his sharp eyes scanned the earth below with disdain. Beside him, his officers waited for his command to begin the assault. "Ready all weapons," Zorak ordered, his voice low but firm. "Let Earth feel the weight of Velos' power." As the Velos fleet prepared for the first strike, there was a sudden flicker across their sensors, something unexpected. Dozens of signals. No, hundreds. "General," one of Zorak's officers said, a note of confusion in his voice. "We're detecting multiple energy signatures coming from the surface of Earth, and from its moon." Zorak's brow furrowed. "Explain." But before the officer could respond, the space surrounding Earth seemed to come alive. From the surface of the planet and the moon itself, hundreds of Terran warships began to emerge, as if materializing from thin air. Their dark hulls reflected the light of distant stars, revealing their sleek, deadly designs. These were not the primitive ships Velos had anticipated. These vessels were sophisticated, brimming with energy shields and cutting-edge weaponry that rivaled even Velos' most advanced warships. Earth had been hiding its strength for far too long. As the Terran fleet rose into position, they executed a flawless maneuver, quickly encircling the Velos' ships. The moon-based defense fleet, hidden in underground bases and cloaked hangars, had launched in unison with Earth's surface forces. What had once seemed like a defenseless world now stood united with a massive display of military might. On the bridge of the Vanguard, Zorak's expression shifted from arrogance to disbelief. His officers scrambled to make sense of the situation. How is this possible?" one officer stammered. "We had no intelligence suggesting Earth possessed this level of technology." Zorak's eyes narrowed, and his mouth twisted into a snarl. "They've deceived us. But it doesn't matter. Destroy them all." With that command, the Velos' fleet opened fire. Beams of brilliant energy shot from their cannons, streaking toward Earth's ships. But as they approached, something unexpected happened. Earth's warships activated their defensive shields, an advanced technology shimmering with an iridescent glow, and absorbed the attacks without taking any damage. Velos' once feared weaponry was rendered almost useless. The Terran fleet, in contrast, retaliated with devastating efficiency. Earth's ships, equipped with plasma railguns and energy disruptors, tore through the Velos' vessels with surgical precision. Coordinated beams of energy sliced through Velos' armor as though it were paper. Velos' warships that had once raised entire star systems now found themselves outmaneuvered and outgunned. On the Vanguard, Zorak watched in disbelief as the battle unfolded. The humans were not just holding their ground, they were winning. His fleet, the pride of Velos, was being decimated in mere minutes. One by one, the Velos' warships exploded in brilliant bursts of light, unable to withstand the sheer firepower of Earth's fleet. "General! We've lost nearly half of our ships," an officer shouted in panic. Zorak clenched his fists, his mind racing for a solution. But it was too late. The Terran fleet had been meticulously trained for this very moment, and they executed their assault with precision and cold calculation. The Velos' ships, designed for overwhelming force, were no match for Earth's superior tactics and defense systems. Within 20 minutes, the once mighty Velos' armada was reduced to debris, floating silently in the cold vacuum of space. The great Vanguard, crippled and barely operational, drifted amidst the wreckage. Zorak stood frozen, his face pale. His dream of conquest had been shattered in less than half an hour. In the command center of Earth's lead ship, General Marcus Reed stood watching the aftermath on the holo screens, his face grim but victorious. The battle was over, and Earth had emerged not just victorious, but as a new power to be reckoned with. "We have them," Reed said to his officers. "Zorak's fleet is destroyed, and the Vanguard is ours. Prepare for the next phase." As the dust settled and the remaining Velos ships surrendered, Earth's fleet turned its gaze toward a new objective, Velos itself. Hours later, Earth's victorious fleet jumped through hyperspace, arriving in orbit above Velos. The once great planet that had struck fear into so many now lay vulnerable before Earth's diplomatic and military might. But the objective was not destruction, it was diplomacy. Despite the show of force, Earth's leaders knew that true peace would only be won through careful negotiation, and by reinstating the rightful ruler of Velos. Princess Vala stood aboard Earth's flagship, watching her homeworld come into view. She had never imagined returning to Velos under such circumstances, protected by a Terran fleet, the same people her uncle had thought to intimidate and conquer. As the Terran ships maintained their position in orbit, emissaries from both Earth and Velos convened in a neutral zone, where diplomatic discussions began in earnest. With Zorak's forces decimated, the remaining leadership of Velos had no choice but to concede. Earth's display of strength had proven beyond any doubt that resistance was futile. Zorak, disgraced and powerless, was removed from his position and taken into custody by Velos' own military council, many of whom had grown weary of his brutal regime. They had not expected Earth to intervene so decisively, but now, they had little choice but to embrace the new reality. In a grand ceremony attended by Velos officials and Earth diplomats, Princess Vala was reinstated as the rightful ruler of Velos. The once shattered royal house of Velos had been restored, and under Vala's leadership, the planet would return to its former ideals of peace and cooperation with the galaxy. Vala, standing on the balcony of the royal palace, looked out over the capital city of Velos. The skies were clear, and for the first time in what seemed like an eternity, hope blossomed in her heart. She turned to General Reed, who had accompanied her as Earth's representative. "Thank you," Vala said softly, her voice filled with gratitude. "You saved not just me, but my people." Reed nodded, a rare smile crossing his normally stern face. "We do what's necessary to protect those who cannot protect themselves. Earth will stand by Velos in the days to come." With Velos and Earth now united in peace, the galaxy had witnessed a new balance of power, a reminder that even the mightiest empires could fall, and that alliances, not conquests, were the true path to greatness. As the Terran fleet departed Velos, returning to Earth, the stars above shimmered brightly, as if to celebrate the dawn of a new era.
If you liked this video, please subscribe to my channel and press the like button. It helps me a lot. Thank you very much.